Short for the win. It's good!
Bogashevsky takes flight
as SGA plays through the contact, banks it in on the foul.
What is up, and welcome to the Uncontested Podcast, post-game edition / sad boy hours, as I am going live right after the Thunder have beat the Portland Trail Blazers 134-131 in overtime, a game that was pivotal for the Thunder tank, for the lottery balls, a game that the Thunder had in hand, and by that I mean they were right on the precipice of losing, and then they somehow pulled out a win thanks to the one and only Isaiah Roby. I'm your host for the evening, Jacob Niffen. We are brought to you guys by the Blue Wire Podcast Network. We are also the official podcast of SI Thunder. I want to say thank you to everyone who is in the live stream tonight. This was a late game, went into overtime, so it's a really late stream. So those of you tuning in live, I don't know why you hate yourselves, but thank you for joining me. If you're listening to this on your podcast platform of choice, I really appreciate you tuning into this one. We're going to try to keep it positive, guys. I know a lot of Thunder fans were pulling for a loss tonight because, in all honesty, a win was futile. A win does absolutely nothing. I know some people want their sports teams to win because just on principle of you play to win the game. There was 0 point in winning this game tonight. Like I mentioned, the Thunder were right there to lose the game, but let it slip through their hands. Let's take a look at the game summary real quick. We're going to go through some of my notes that I took during the game, and then we will talk about some individual performances and, most importantly, some tank implications. So the Thunder were up 34-28 after the first quarter. Both teams just kind of scorching the nets. It was a very high-paced game. Second quarter, OKC got blitzed 24-33, which you like to see. Third quarter, again, the Thunder lose that quarter by 5, and things looked good going into quarter number 4. I believe the Thunder were down 8 going into the fourth quarter, 89-81, I believe was the score. And then the fourth quarter, the Thunder outscored the Portland Trail Blazers 34-26. Isaiah Roby hits a massive three-pointer with about 6 seconds left to tie the game. The Thunder were down double digits with under 2 minutes left. Not double digits, double possessions. Apologies. Double possessions with under 2 minutes to go in this game. They get it down to 3. Isaiah Roby hits the three-point shot with 6 seconds to go, ties the game. Portland gets an opportunity to win it in regulation. Olivier Sarr actually fell on that possession underneath the basket, and I thought if Portland would have attacked quick, they had a layup. They force up a bad 3. They try a tip. Both of those miss. Goes into overtime. That was absolutely crazy. Thunder scored 19 points in overtime. Portland scored 16 points in 5 minutes of overtime, which is absurd. Portland does not attempt to heave in the final second of the game to try to force a second overtime, and the game ends. And once again, with the Thunder winning 134-131. This game puts the Oklahoma City Thunder at 22 wins on the season. Below them, Detroit, Houston, and Orlando all have 20 wins. That is going to be a hard hill to climb now. The Thunder, if they want a chance at top 3 lottery odds, are going to have to lose every game from here on out. They have another matchup with Portland coming up in about a week. That game is in Oklahoma City. I don't know if they can lose to that team twice. The Thunder were pretty awful tonight, all things considered. When we look at some of the team stats tonight, the Thunder had, how many turnovers did they have? 20 turnovers. I don't know if they can turn the ball over 20 times again. I thought that's really what kept Portland in the game and gave them a lead. The Thunder did shoot 44% from 3. Hopefully that won't happen the next game in a week from now. Isaiah Roby had a career high 30. I think Aaron Wiggins may have had a career high in 28. I don't see that happening again. But I don't know. Just it's going to be hard to lose to that Portland team again. Let's look at the Thunder's remaining schedule. After tonight, they play the Hawks at home. I think that's a pretty easy loss. A massively important tank game on Friday against the Detroit Pistons. That one's really, really, really big. If the Thunder can lose to the Pistons, then they follow that up with the Suns on Sunday. The Suns on Sunday. I like that. That's a loss. And then the Blazers come back to OKC next Tuesday, April 5th. That one becomes pivotal. If they lose that one, then their last three are the Jazz, the Lakers, and the Clippers on a 3-game road trip to close out the season. The Lakers presumably will still be fighting for positioning in the play-in game. And the Clippers might not have much to play for, but reports out today that Paul George is trying to return this week. They probably want Paul to play to get back in rhythm before the play-in games. So maybe the Clippers actually try in that final game of the season. But at this point, other teams have to win 2 more games to even tie the Thunder if the Thunder went winless the rest of the season, which is pretty much what they have to do. I think Detroit is probably the best opportunity to do that because the Thunder play Detroit, so that we can almost chalk that one up. Like if Oklahoma City loses that game to Detroit, then Detroit's at 21 wins. They just need to win 1 more game. Houston missed a shot at the buzzer to send their game with the Spurs to overtime tonight. That would have been massive if Houston could have got a win tonight. The next 2 games for Houston, both at home, both versus the tanking Kings. The Kings are only 2 games better than Indiana, and they are tied with the Portland Trailblazers. You would have to assume the Kings are going to sit some guys. It sounds like De'Aaron Fox might not play the rest of the season. If Houston can win those 2 Sacramento games, that would put them tied with Oklahoma City. And in a coin flip situation, if the Thunder could lose out, I know a lot of people on Thunder Twitter, Thunder social media tonight, basically packing it in, saying, there's no chance the Thunder get bottom 3 odds. There is. There definitely is. I mean, like I just said, the Houston Rockets play the Kings twice coming up. The Pistons have the Thunder. The Pistons have the Pacers. So that's 2 possible wins for the Pistons. They could get there. Orlando messed around and almost beat the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight, which would have been huge. They lost by 6. But the Orlando Magic, let's look up their schedule real quick. This is great podcasting. This is your late night podcasting by Jacob here. The Magic have the Wizards in their next game. That's winnable. They still have the Knicks on the schedule. That's also winnable. There's a path for them to get to 22, but it's all about the Thunder not winning another game this season. And I think that's a possibility. So let's get into some of my notes. My first note, the reason why I think the Thunder losing the rest of the games this season is a possibility is because my first note says everyone is out. SGA has been announced he is done for the year. Darius Bazley has, I believe it is a kneecap fracture, out for the rest of the year. Trey Mann out tonight with hamstring soreness. We'll see if he plays again this season. Your 8 available players tonight were Aaron Wiggins, Alexei Pokusevski, Isaiah Roby, Teo Maladone, Vit Krejci, Lindy Waters, Olivier Sarr, and Jeremiah Robinson-Earl. Shout out to JRE. Came back after 2 months of being gone from his foot fracture and gave the Thunder 15 minutes tonight. Shot 2 of 5 from the field, had 8 rebounds, 6 points. So nice night from him. But every single one of those players has played G League minutes this season. If you take away Derek Favors, I would say every one of those players has played significant G League minutes this season. That is a full-blown tank team. I'm starting to lean that I don't think Trey Mann is going to play again this season. I think they're going to keep him out with that hamstring tightness. There's 12 days left in the season. There's no point in playing him. So I think there's a chance the Thunder lose their final 8. Back to the notes. I said first quarter, Portland's defense is awful, awful, awful. I thought Portland in that first quarter didn't rotate at all. I thought it got better with time. The Thunder hit a lot of shots tonight. But I thought the Portland defense was very lazy to start this game. My next note says Isaiah Roby is incredibly hot. I wrote that in my notes about 5 minutes into the first quarter. Little did I know that was going to be our curse. Isaiah Roby, absolutely insane tonight. 11 of 13 from the field, 4 of 5 from 3, but 4 of 8 from the free throw line. So 4 of 5 from 3. He's cooking from deep. He's making everything at the basket, but he misses 50% of his free throws. Gets 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, has 30 points. Insane. Just insane. Isaiah Roby single-handedly tanked the tank tonight. I said OKC hit 5 threes in the quarter. 13 of their 23 shots were threes. It felt like the Thunder were just hoisting away from three-point line, which is interesting because at the end of the night, exactly half of the Thunder shots tonight were from three. The Thunder took 90 field goal attempts. 45 of them were three-pointers. The Thunder shot 20 of 45 from three. They shot 48 from 90 overall on the game. That means they made 28 of 45 two-pointers. Just crazy efficient. That goes back to Portland just not playing any defense whatsoever. I said there's a ton of shot making in this game, and OKC turning the ball over a lot on passes into the lane. I thought that's what got Portland back in this game. Portland ran a little bit of a 2-3 zone tonight, and there were multiple plays where the Thunder had somebody cutting in the lane or somebody like standing at the free throw line or in the dunker spot, and somebody on the wing, whether it be Poku or Teo or Veet, had the ball and would try to fire a pass inside because they viewed that guy as open. But the thing in the zone defense is all 5 defenders are looking at the ball. And so it led to some easy like interceptions for Portland and some runouts. That's really what got Portland back in this game tonight. Speaking of what got Portland back in this game, my next note says Ben Mclemore is loving this. Dude looks like me in a pickup game. Ben Mclemore, ultimate green light tonight. Dude he came off the bench, played 32 minutes, which was less than Brandon Williams, less than Keon Johnson, less than Drew Eubanks, CJ Elby, or Elijah Hughes. Ben Mclemore, 10 of 22 from the field, 8 of 18 from 3, ended with 28 points. Dude never met a jump shot he didn't like. He was just firing away. It was actually kind of fun to watch. He got hot there for a while. I thought Ben Mclemore was going to lead us to the promised land tonight. Unfortunately, he cooled off there in the fourth quarter when we needed him the most. My last note before halftime just says that Poku pass is sending me. If you missed it, at the end of the half, about 10 seconds left, Poku is dribbling up the court as the point guard off of a made Portland pass. He passes half court and he spots Veet Krejci in the opposite corner and throws a little jump over the head pass to Veet. And that ball ended up, I am not even exaggerating, in like row M. It was like 10 or 15 rows up. He launched that thing. Like, that was the most ridiculous missed pass I have ever seen. Ladies and gentlemen, Poku tonight had, let's look at his stat line, 11 points, 4 of 11 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3, 8 rebounds, 10 assists, but 6 turnovers. He had multiple air balls. Actually also tied for team high in plus minus with Veet Krejci. Folks, Poku understood the assignment. Poku knew what we were trying to do tonight. None of the other Thunder players were on board. Start of the third quarter, about 3 or 4 minutes in, my next note said Aaron Wiggins is just outworking everybody. I do not advise you to go back and watch the tape from this game. Burn the tape. This game was a sin. That is why God gave us overtime, because he is punishing us all for our gluttony. He is smiting us. Forgive us, for we have sinned, Father. Burn the tape. But if you were to go back and watch, Aaron Wiggins just worked his ass off tonight. a lot of his points came off drives to the basket. He was getting tip-ins. He was getting offensive rebounds. He was diving out of bounds to save the ball. Some might say they tried a little too hard tonight. Isaiah Roby was doing the same, trying to save loose balls from going out of bounds. But I just thought not Isaiah Roby. I thought Aaron Wiggins just worked harder than almost anybody on the court tonight. Again, I said I was going to keep this post-game podcast positive. I'm trying my best. They really needed to lose this game. But some little things you can take away, like those are things that set culture, right? Those are things that, those are buy-in things. Aaron Wiggins could have packed it in tonight. He could have not given a crap. Lord knows all the rest of us didn't give a crap, and rightfully so. But regardless, Aaron Wiggins is geared to play hard all the time. That's been drilled into him all season, and he did that tonight. He worked really hard. He hustled. He understands that he is not a top 5 guy on this team. He's a dude that got drafted at the very end of the second round of the NBA draft. He's going to have to fight and claw and bite his way to staying on an NBA roster, and that's what he's trying to do. So you have to respect that from the guy. You have to kind of respect the never say die, fight for every possession, 48-minute game type of culture the Thunder are building. That's nice. Wish they would have relaxed a little bit on their morals tonight, but shout out to Wiggins for working hard. At the start of the fourth quarter, my next note says, turnovers are what is getting OKC back in this game. The Portland Trailblazers tonight ended with, let's count them up here, 11 turnovers. I think going into the fourth quarter, they had 4. So that means they turned the ball over 7 times in the fourth quarter in overtime. They made a lot of bad passes there in the fourth quarter that allowed the Thunder to trim. Again, I believe Portland was up 8 going into the fourth. I think it might have got up to 10 early in the fourth. And they kept turning the ball over, and OKC got easy buckets. One of them was like a Poku transition play where he just kind of like glided to the rim and had this beautiful little finger roll. It was very nice. But plays like that were what really got OKC back in the game. Like how the Thunder let Portland back in the game in the first half with turnovers. Portland returned the favor to OKC in the fourth quarter. At the start of the fourth quarter, this next note, Poku getting bodied in the post on back-to-back possessions at the start of the fourth quarter. And it wasn't just anybody who was posting him up. It was Chris Dunn, a point guard, like a 6'5", 6'6" point guard. Kind of just bodied him. I said, this is that competitive and toughness stuff that Mark has talked about with Aleksej Pokusevski. Poku, we know he's skinny. He's real skinny. We know he's long. He's real long. You just got to fight on those possessions, right? Like getting backed under the rim. I can understand that if it's like Drew Eubanks on him tonight, because Eubanks is a large human being, not Chris Dunn. Like you have to fight back. You have to try to like eat that shot whenever he pushes you down and backs you under the rim. I just thought that was a lack of toughness from Poku. I give Poku a lot of love. I also have to call out the negatives as well. That was bad from Poku tonight. But my next note mentions that fluid drive and finger roll I just talked about with Poku. A Portland note here. I said Keon Johnson has played really well. The kid hustled really hard. He was saving balls out of bounds. He was diving on the floor. He is a very fluid athlete. I think whenever he was coming out of college, I thought about Keon as a power athlete, like an aggressive athlete. He is very fluid. Everything he does on the court, his drives, his handle, his shot, everything just looks so smooth and easy and all like in a rhythm. And it just kind of goes with the flow. It's like almost kind of opposite of the way Shai Gilgeous-Alexander plays, which is kind of fascinating. But I thought Keon Johnson had a really nice night. He had 17 points on 19 shots. That's not great. 3 of 9 from 3. But I thought his 3 ball looked really nice. I thought his form was good. He had 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 steals. I thought Keon played a fine game. I don't know how good he's going to be whenever Portland's like actually trying to win games again. There's a reason he slipped so much in the draft. But I thought Keon, I just wanted to make that note, is he looked good to me tonight. My next note says, how good is Vít Krejci? The stroke is low-key nice. Vít ended tonight with 4 of 6 from the field. They were all three-pointers, so he's 4 of 6 from 3. 12 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. He had a big-time step-back 3 to kind of cap off a Thunder run there in the fourth quarter. Vít's interesting. He's got a lot of work defensively to do. He's already 21. He has injury concerns. They're saying he's going to have to get his knee looked at again this offseason. That's concerning. He's got a lot of growth to make defensively, but the shot looks nice. I've said this on a podcast before. I think he's a really high IQ player, especially in space. I think he cuts really well. He reads the floor, knows when to cut and where to cut to. I think he's a really adept passer, ball mover. I think he's the kind of guy that Presti really likes, but like not the pinnacle, right? He's that prototype, but he's not like the A+ version of that prototype. He's like a C version of that prototype. It'll be interesting. I think he'll be on this team next year. I don't know if he gets minutes or not. I kind of stopped taking notes because I started stressing out at the end of the game. My last note reads, OT, overtime, because God is punishing us all for our sins. I think that's pretty accurate. Isaiah Roby takes over in overtime. Had like 7 points in overtime, I think. Hit a couple of big-time threes. Had a dunk that kind of capped it off. And once again, the Thunder squeak out of Portland with a win. Maybe the worst win in Thunder history. This is one that they really, really, really needed to lose. So like I mentioned before, they've got to lose all 8 of their final games if they want any chance at those top 3 odds. I know everybody, again, is sad boy hours right now because we all think they're not going to get top 3 now that this was the dagger. Pump the brakes a little bit. We got to let the stuff play out. We will see. We will see. And you know what? If they don't get top 3 odds, they're getting the 4th best odds. The worry is that they could slide down a little bit. But like we've preached all season long, this draft in 2022 is not like the 2021 draft. I think there is prime chance of trading up in this draft. So I am not stressing out. Before we do some tank standings, let's hit the comment section over here. Colin Reed, tell me how they inbound the ball in the baseline. Literally any person with any slight basketball IQ wouldn't inbound it there. Colin, I'm not sure exactly what the context you're talking about there. Now, the sideline out of bounds play that Daignault ran where Poku just got a hit ahead to Aaron Wiggins for an easy layup. That one kills me, man. Just turn the damn thing over or something. I don't know. Eamon says, shouts to Jacob for the late game pod. Man's probably got to teach tomorrow. Yeah, your boy's got to be up in 8 hours teaching U.S. history. So, Colin says, Portland at the end of the game. Yeah, so Colin, Portland didn't have a timeout, so they could not advance the ball, which I thought was they had called their timeout on the possession before to try to get the layup down 3 and then foul. I thought since that was their last timeout, they should have taken the last shot of the game and shot a 3. I thought the quick 2 was dumb because that left them with 2 seconds to go the length of the court and get a shot to tie or win there at the end. They didn't even attempt to heave. I thought the timeout before the foul where I forget, I think it was Hughes went for the layup, missed it, and Eubanks got the tip dunk. I thought they should have shot the final shot of the game right there and shot a 3 to tie it because the quick 2 wasn't going to work there. Eamon says, that Poku pass reminds me of Uncle Rico. How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over them mountains? Yes. Very accurate. Very accurate. Eric Hoffman says, I'm listening to this between puking in a bucket from this game. Could not agree more. Eamon also mentions that Pistons game in OKC, the Pistons will be on a second night of a back-to-back. That is problematic. But let me tell you something. After watching the Thunder put up this performance against this Portland team tonight, I feel pretty good about the Pistons beating them. Like I feel pretty good. Sadiq Bey, Cade Cunningham, hell, even Killian Hayes is going to torch this team. So, all right, folks, before we get out of here, we got to do it. Again, the Thunder are at 22 wins, 53 losses. They are now a full 2 games ahead of the Detroit Pistons. They are 2.5 games ahead of Houston and Orlando. The Thunder's best bet to get top 3 lottery odds is to lose the rest of their games and for Detroit, Houston, or Orlando to win 2 games to get in a coin flip situation. There is a chance that will happen. Like we've mentioned, Orlando has a couple of winnable ones against the Wizards and the Knicks. Houston has 2 games at home against the Kings. The Pistons have a game against Indiana and a game against Oklahoma City. All 3 of those teams have 2 games on their schedule that are winnable games. The Thunder just have to lose out the rest of them. And we just have to wait and see what happens. So don't stress. Don't be super mad that they won tonight. I know it's frustrating. It's out of our control. We can't do anything about it. We just got to let it play out. Before we get out of here, I got to do a tankathon sim. So let's hit this spin button, see what happens. Oh, here we go. I am going to, if you're on the stream, I am going to share my screen so you guys know I am not lying when I show you Tankathon. Here you go. Hopefully you folks on the stream can see it. I just hit spin, and the Oklahoma City Thunder get the number 1 overall pick in the 2022 NBA draft. That's what we're going for. Even if you have the 4th best odds, there is a chance. It's all about just how those lottery balls fall, and we have no control over that. So there we go. Now, as I pump our outro music and we get out of here tonight, I will say, I don't know if you guys saw, I tweeted about it today from my personal Twitter account, but ESPN dropped their latest mock draft. For some reason, they have the Thunder at 5, which I don't understand, taking Keegan Murray. That's not fun. And they have the Thunder getting the 14th pick from the Clippers, taking Ty Washington. That is a puke scenario. Let's not make that happen. All right, folks. If you were in the live stream tonight, man, I cannot thank you enough for joining after that awful game at midnight to listen to this podcast. Thank you so much. If you're listening to the podcast version, hope you enjoyed the show. Please don't let a stupid Thunder win ruin your day. Just chill out. Let's have some fun. Let's enjoy basketball and see what happens. We don't know what's going to happen. We just got to ride it out, man. We got about 12 days left before this team does not play again until Summer League. So let's just enjoy what we got. We will talk to you guys Wednesday night after the Thunder take on the Atlanta Hawks. So until then, have a great Tuesday. And Thunder up.